The world has been searching for a mark, a barcode, a tattoo, a microchip, a digital currency, a hidden implant. Every generation seems convinced it has finally uncovered the mysterious symbol described in the book of Revelation. Every major technological breakthrough sparks another wave of headlines. This is it. The prophecy is being fulfilled. Fear spreads. Speculation explodes. Then history moves on. The theory fades, and a new one takes its place. But what if we've been asking the wrong question all along? What if the greatest mystery isn't what the mark of the beast looks like, but why people receive it in the first place? That single question changes the entire investigation. Because before Revelation ever speaks of a mark placed on the hand or the forehead, it tells a much larger story. A story about worship, about loyalty, about allegiance, about a conflict that began long before the final pages of the Bible were written. John's vision is not merely about economics or politics. It is about the human heart. The book of Revelation describes two opposing paths. One leads toward the Lamb, the other follows the beast. Two kingdoms, two loyalties, two futures. The mark appears only after humanity is confronted with a decision. That detail is often overlooked. For centuries, Christians have debated whether the mark should be understood literally, symbolically, or as a combination of both. Some believe it points to a future physical identification. Others understand it as representing complete allegiance to a system that stands against God. Still others see both spiritual and physical dimensions working together. Whatever conclusion one reaches, the Bible invites us to examine the context before jumping to conclusions. Perhaps the greatest danger is not misunderstanding one symbol. Perhaps it is missing the larger message entirely. Because Revelation was never written merely to satisfy curiosity about the future. It was written to strengthen faithful believers living under pressure. And maybe that purpose still matters today. As the world grows louder, the question Revelation quietly asks becomes impossible to ignore. When every voice demands your loyalty, whose voice will you follow? Long before Revelation was written, the Bible repeatedly connected the hand and the forehead with something far deeper than a physical mark. When Jehovah instructed Israel regarding his commandments, he told them to bind his words as a sign upon their hand and as frontlets between their eyes. The imagery was powerful. The hand represented action. The forehead represented thought. Life itself was to be shaped by devotion to God. Whether these instructions were understood symbolically or expressed through physical reminders, the message remained the same. Loyalty begins in the mind. It is revealed through our actions. Centuries later, Revelation uses remarkably similar imagery, but this time another mark appears, another allegiance, another kingdom demanding devotion. Was John intentionally drawing upon those earlier scriptures? Many Bible scholars believe he was. If so, the contrast becomes striking. One mark represents belonging to God. The other represents belonging to the beast, not merely through outward appearance, but inward commitment. This is why many interpreters caution against reducing the prophecy to a single technology or object. The imagery reaches far beyond mechanics. It speaks to identity, to worship, to the deepest loyalties of the human heart. Yet the mystery does not end there. Revelation also connects the mark with buying and selling. For many readers,
This is where the prophecy becomes intensely practical. Does this describe literal economic restrictions, a symbolic picture of dependence upon corrupt systems, or something that combines both? Christians have answered these questions differently for centuries, but one fact remains undeniable. The prophecy describes a time when faithfulness may carry an extraordinary cost. The decision will not merely be intellectual, it will affect daily life, livelihood, comfort, security. Perhaps that's why Revelation repeatedly calls for endurance rather than panic, because faithful endurance has always required something deeper than perfect knowledge. It requires unwavering trust in God. There is another detail that makes the mark of the beast so unsettling. No one in Revelation accidentally receives it. The mark is consistently connected with worship. That word appears again and again and again. Those who receive the mark are described as giving honor to the beast. Those who refuse it remain loyal despite immense pressure. Whatever one's interpretation of the imagery, Revelation presents a profound spiritual conflict rather than a random administrative event. The issue is never simply the mark itself. The issue is whom people choose to worship. That observation has shaped Christian interpretation for centuries. Some traditions expect a future global system requiring visible participation. Others see the mark as representing ongoing allegiance to values and powers that oppose God's kingdom. Still others understand the prophecy as containing both symbolic meaning and future historical fulfillment. The discussion continues. Yet across these different perspectives, one warning remains remarkably consistent. Human beings are continually tempted to place ultimate trust somewhere other than God. History illustrates this pattern repeatedly. Ancient empires demanded absolute loyalty. Kings expected worship-like devotion. Political systems promised security. Economic systems promised prosperity. Human power repeatedly attempted to occupy a place that belongs to God alone. Perhaps Revelation gathers all those recurring patterns into one dramatic vision, not to leave believers terrified, but awake. Because deception rarely announces itself honestly, it usually arrives wrapped in promises. Promises of safety, promises of peace, promises of prosperity, promises that ask for only one thing in return: your allegiance. That may explain why Revelation never portrays faithful believers as simply recognizing a symbol. Instead, they are described as those who patiently endure, obey God, and remain loyal to the Lamb, no matter what the surrounding culture demands. Maybe that's always been the real battlefield. Not first the hand, not first the forehead, but the heart.
The more you study the mark of the beast, the more one truth begins to emerge. The prophecy is not designed to make people obsessed with technology. It is designed to make people examine their loyalty. That may be why Revelation paints such a vivid contrast between two groups of people. One group follows the beast, the other follows the Lamb. One receives a mark, the other bears God's name. One chooses temporary security, the other chooses lasting faithfulness. Notice where the emphasis remains, not on the appearance of the mark, but on the object of worship. That distinction has enormous implications. Throughout history, countless believers have faced moments when obedience to God came at a personal cost. Some lost their homes, others lost their freedom, many lost their lives. Yet they refused to compromise
because they believed something greater awaited them. Could Revelation be reminding every generation that the greatest test has never been comfort but faithfulness? Jesus hinted at this long before John received his vision. He asked a question that still echoes across history. What will it benefit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his life? The temptation has always been the same. Trade eternal truth for temporary security. Exchange conviction for convenience. Remain silent when truth becomes unpopular. Blend in rather than stand firm. Perhaps the mark of the beast represents the ultimate expression of that choice. Whether one understands it as symbolic, literal, or both, the invitation behind it remains remarkably familiar. Choose what is easy. Choose what is safe. Choose what everyone else is choosing. Yet Revelation points in another direction. Again and again, it praises endurance, patient endurance, not dramatic heroism, not fearless perfection, but ordinary believers who continue trusting God when the pressure to compromise becomes overwhelming. Perhaps that is why the prophecy feels so relevant today, because the greatest battle may not begin in some distant future. It begins every time a follower of Christ must decide whether truth is worth more than acceptance, and those small decisions quietly prepare the heart for much greater ones. For generations, people have asked, what is the mark of the beast? Perhaps Revelation has been asking a different question all along. Whose mark already shapes your life? Every day, humanity is being formed by something. The voices we trust, the values we embrace, the people we admire, the systems we depend on. None of us lives without influence. The real question is which influence ultimately defines us. That is why the final chapters of the Bible are filled with hope as much as warning. Revelation never leaves faithful believers staring at the beast. It keeps directing their eyes back to the Lamb, back to God's kingdom, back to the promise that evil, no matter how powerful it appears, is temporary. Empires rise, empires fall, political movements come and go, economic systems flourish and collapse, technology transforms the world, but one kingdom remains unshaken. That is the kingdom Jesus proclaimed throughout his ministry, the kingdom that Daniel saw represented by a stone that shattered every human empire, the kingdom that will never be replaced. Perhaps that is the deeper purpose behind one of Scripture's most mysterious prophecies, not to leave believers terrified of tomorrow, but to anchor them in something eternal. The mark of the beast has sparked fear for centuries, yet fear was never Revelation's final message. Faithfulness was, hope was, endurance was. And maybe the greatest protection against deception has never been correctly identifying every prophetic symbol. Maybe it has always been knowing the shepherd so well that no counterfeit voice can lead you away. Because when the noise of this world finally reaches its loudest, the voice you have learned to follow today may determine the path you choose tomorrow.